Hi, thanks for coming tonight. It is normally at this point in the concert where I would introduce us as the award-winning Walsh Memorial Bell Choir, and then I would talk about the history and I would talk about who we are. I feel like this crowd has a pretty good handle on that. So instead what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk to you about how this concert is gonna be a little bit different than most of our concerts. Usually, during our concerts, while we're on tour, during our holiday concerts throughout November and December, in between each piece, I kind of give you a little bit of a history of the piece that we're about to ring. I'll talk about techniques that we're going to use. I talk about how this music was used in a church setting, whether it's a secular piece, whether it's a religious piece. But tonight, we're at a homecoming concert, and we have just been away. And many of you in the audience helped us get there. You supported us, whether you supported us financially, whether you supported us emotionally, you helped us get there. And so I feel like while it's fresh in our minds, instead of listening to me talk, you're gonna listen to the kids. And in between each piece, they're gonna tell you one of their favorite tour memories. We always have Mission Sunday, which is in the fall. At that point, we're about a few months after the tour. And yes, we can put together a slideshow and show you pictures and talk about some of these things, but sometimes over time, things kind of fade away. So while it's fresh in our minds, we're gonna talk to you in between each piece about our experiences on tour this year. A little background about our tour, if you are not familiar. We started out this year's tour at the Area 2 Handbell Festival in Lake Harmony, Pennsylvania, where we rang with about 20 other choirs. Not only did we ring massed pieces, but we were broken up into ability level groups, and so we rang with our ability level group, the highest. And then we got to take some classes with some of the composers that we're gonna be playing tonight. They actually led some of our classes for us, and then they conducted us in some of the songs, so some of us got to meet our heroes. And it was a wonderful experience for all of us, particularly for some of our younger ringers who've never had that experience before. I can say things over and over, hey, when you ring, you gotta extend that arm. But you know, when the composer of a piece that you're ringing says, hey, you know, when you ring, you should probably extend that arm, suddenly it seems like a good thing to do. Then we left Lake Harmony on Sunday and we drove to Kingston Point, New York. We did have a concert that was scheduled in Saratoga Springs. Unfortunately, that church had a variety of circumstances where they had to back out, but that's okay. That just gave us a beach day. So we went to the beach up at Kingston Point, New York, and then we continued on to Maine, and we played a concert in Skowhegan, Maine, and we played a concert in Lovell, Maine, and were very warmly welcomed by the people that were in Maine. They loved the kids because who wouldn't? And they were very impressed with everything that we had to offer. So we're going to start, now that I've taken up all the time, we're going to start with the kids talking to us after our next piece. But I do want to tell you, our next piece is a piece called Prisms by Bill Payne. And that's all I'm going to say. I do want to explain one quick thing, and one of the things that I think you're going to hear on tour, I think the value of tour is that it teaches our kids to roll with the punches, right? Things don't ever go smoothly on tour. If you've gone on a tour where everything worked like clockwork, I'm so sorry. You missed out on a great experience. And so normally, you can see the kids are in their concert clothes. Just as an explanation, it's not just that I'm tired from tour and decided not to wear my concert clothes. We stayed in the lovely host home with a woman last night who I said, hey, would it be okay if I did my laundry? And she said, absolutely, sweetie, you do that laundry. So I did my laundry, and then it was time to put it in the dryer, and she said, you know what, you go to bed. I'll just make sure that the dryer cycle continues. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. And then this morning when I came down to the kitchen, she had folded all of my clothes. And I was like, you didn't, like I was gonna get it out. She's like, no problem, I gotcha. And then when I picked up my pile of all of my clothes, they were all really damp and wet. And so I put them in my suitcase that way. So this is what I had that was dry. So forgive me for not wearing concert attire, but thank you to the Area 2 Handbell Festival for having this handbell shirt for me to purchase. And just, I put it in a different bag. So, all right, Prisms. So our first tour memory will be given to us by Kate Rossi.
My tour memory is when we went to the Area 2 festival and we got to see more experience older ringers and how they rung. And there was one soloist and he really was he had this whole set of bells and he played all of them through all these songs and he just played them by himself, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Thanks, Sarah. I mean, Kate. All right. Our next piece is called Amen Siya Kudumisa, and it is it's arranged by Kathy Mackelbust. It is actually a South African hymn, and you're going to hear a lot of driving rhythms in the bass and the middle bells that kind of keep the rest of us on task. Our next sharer will be Joey.
Something about tour that I'll be sharing is the host homes we stayed at. the people who let us stay at their house after some of the concerts. We stayed at 2 host homes. The first one I stayed at with Henry and Trevor. It was a really nice house. We all stayed in the basement, and we played Wii bowling all night with a break in between in a sauna. So that was really fun. And then the next one we stayed at was a really nice lake house. We tried to go in the lake, but there were just too many bugs, so we came back in. And then when we woke up, we got to eat a bunch of pancakes and enjoy the view of the house while the lady sung us songs while playing on her little guitar, ukulele, I think.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
Our next piece is Inception by Jason Krug, who was in fact one of the conductors who was at the Area 2 Festival, and very enlightening to take his master class. He would say things, you know, I'm always telling the kids, we really need to look at these markings. The composer writes these pieces with great intention, and as he's directing the master class, he says to us, he's like, yeah, I don't really know why I wrote this measure like this, so do what you want. So, you know, it was a little freeing, I'm going to be honest with you, but please enjoy Inception by Jason Krug. Our next speaker will be Caleb.
Hello. So before I
share my memory. As Miss Bossa would say, a little history first. It's not actually that much, but in Walsh it's like semi-tradition where every time we go on tour or like have an all-day bell rehearsal, whenever we have spare time, we play a game called Mafia, which for those who don't know, which, I mean, looking at you, most of you know, but for those who don't, it's like a social deduction game where like one or two of you is an imposter, and every round you have to try to figure out who it is, and you have to vote them out. But anyway, yeah, literally every night, we would all gather up in a circle and we would play Mafia, and me and Sarah won one of the times, so that was also cool. But yeah, it's just always fun just having like a nice, I don't know, community, like, not community, but like playing a game with everyone, and it's just like, yeah, a sense of community and stuff. All right.
Thanks, Caleb. So I want to take a quick moment before our next piece to just kind of say, I don't go on tour alone. It's not just me and 11 ringers. I always bring chaperones with me. And for the past few years, I have brought the same chaperones with me and, kind of said things like, so, what are you doing at the end of June? And they always step up and are willing to come along and are absolute lifesavers. And so I'd like to give a huge round of applause to Amy Traver. And Steve Gaydon. And I don't think I could explain well enough how integral Steve and Amy are into making sure this tour is a success. So thank you does not do it justice. So please know that. But while we're speaking of Steve, Caleb was talking about traditions. One of the other Walsh traditions is that at the end of tour, our seniors put together some paper plate awards for the rest of the group. And we all got our awards while we were eating dinner tonight, but as I was mentioning, integral to the operations of tour, Steve was returning the van up to Wayne for me. So he was not here for dinner. And so Trevor and Sarah are going to present Steve with his paper plate award now. And then they're going to share some tour memories with you.
Okay, so we gave Steve this award because he always makes sure that we're keeping things appropriate and PG, and whenever he hears something, he's like, you shouldn't be saying that. Let's not do that. So.
Yeah, we give this to him in an endearing way. Like, we appreciate this about him. So yeah, we gave him the
Disney Junior Award. While we're up here, one of my favorite tour memories from this year was starting at the Area 2 Festival, and it was really great to work in some of the workshops with more experienced ringers, and also getting to see previous Walsh director, Miss Liz, and also Billy, who used to be in Walsh. So that was really nice to see them while we were working on all of our bell music.
One of my favorite tour memories is after we went to the beach on Monday. We went to the mall, and it was fun just to walk around with our friends and shop.
Because we don't have malls in New Jersey. So, our next piece came about, it was not originally in my lineup, but There was a great campaign within the choir to play this piece because Morristown High School did Les Miserables for the spring musical, and so we had people on stage and backstage at that show, and then people in the audience, and so the choir decided we should also be part of that. So please enjoy the Les Miserables medley. Memory is going to be from Enery. I call him Enery. He doesn't get the reference. It's like, I'm Enery the Aetholian. Maybe you don't get the reference either. Anyway, so Henry, come on over and give us your memory.
Some of the best moments in Walsh are those that are unplanned, and also some of the most memorable. One of those is always, on every tour I've been on, we've somehow managed to mess up either timing on a road trip or the direction of a road trip. So this year was direction. And we were supposed to be going to a lake in order to, you know, have like another beach day real quick before we went to another concert. But instead, we ended up driving into the middle of a field in Maine, which is always exciting. And so Miss Baza hopped out of the van, got directions, and we managed to make it to a lake. But it was an amazing time and also pretty funny.
To be fair, just so you know, if you go to Maine and you're up in the mountains, your GPS doesn't work. So, just gonna leave that there. Now we're going to play Now the Green Blade Riseth. will be Eli.
One of my favorite tour memories was when we had free time, like at our first arcade. The first hotel. Me and Kate went to the arcade a lot, and we saw a bunch of kids winning prizes, so we thought we'd try, and we ended up spending like $20 and winning nothing. So, but it was still fun.
So Henry was talking about the fun in little snafus along tour, and he is absolutely correct. The next song that we're going to play for you was a snafu. It was not originally on our concert agenda for tour. We went to the Bell Festival, and when you go to a Bell Festival, they give you the music beforehand. They tell you what to buy and what to rehearse before you get there. And then you kind of fine-tune while you're there. So I had purchased all the music. We had been practicing all the music. And then day one, here we are with, all of the other Bell choirs, and we're going to ring Earth and All Stars. And our guys are like, yeah, we know this. And so we all open up the music, and the director starts conducting, and 19 choirs are all playing the same song, and our choir's playing something completely different because I bought the wrong version of the song. So luckily, they planned for things like that, and they had a music representative in the back. And so I was able to purchase some copies of the song. How convenient. And so I purchased the correct copies of the song and gave it to them. And they literally learned this brand new piece. When I say it could not be more different from the one that we were playing. Like, there's nothing similar about them at all. And yet, if you add up all the time that they spent rehearsing this piece at the festival, I would say it's maybe 2 hours. So they learned this piece in 2 hours that other choirs had spent months working on. And they loved it. And so they asked that we include it in our tour repertoire. So please enjoy the correct version of Earth and All Stars. Our next sharer also happens to be celebrating a birthday today. So let's have Cassie come up and chat with us.
Hi, so because it's my birthday, so my tour memory is because it's my birthday, everyone put balloons in like the 15-passenger van, which was really cute, but it also made it really difficult to get into the van because there's balloons everywhere and there's only like a slim walkway, but it was okay, I loved it. And then also, Kate, Eli, and Charlotte bought me this like shark like stuffed animal, but it also came with like a thing where you could like track your own shark, which was really cute and I loved it.
The next piece that we're going to play for you also was not on our repertoire. I choose the music for the next year's tour in August, right? So over the summer, I'll be thinking about what we're going to play throughout the year, what we'll bring with us on tour. And for the past few years, I've had an older, heavy choir, right? The majority of the ringers were on the older side. And this year, I have a younger choir. The majority of our ringers are on the younger side this year. And so I made choices based on what I wanted to make challenging, but still have us feel successful and want to continue and not say like, I can't do this, this is too hard. And so we played our pieces throughout the year. I put together the agenda, and about a month ago, I was approached by some younger members of the choir who said, we don't get to play Pasakaye on tour. Everybody plays Pasakaye on tour. And I said, well, I mean, it just wasn't one of our, we didn't prepare it this year. And they said, do you not think we can do it? And I said, oh, no, I absolutely think you can do it. Sure, let's give it a try. And if we give it a try and it works, then we'll go for it. And so we've practiced it for the past month. And when I tell you it's a beast of a piece that really takes a year to prepare, and yet this group 100% prepared this piece in 1 month. And they always knock my socks off, but particularly knock my socks off with this one. So please enjoy Pasakaye. Next, we're going to hear from Charlotte.
So one of the days we went to the beach, but before we went to the beach, we went to CVS and we got like a bunch of candy and stuff. And one of the aisles had like floaties for like pools. So me, Cassie, Eli, Caleb, and Kate got floaties for the lake. So when we got to the beach, we blew them up. And it was really fun just floating on them in the lake, and I had an amazing time.
Our next piece is why we are able to call ourselves the award-winning Walsh Memorial Bell Choir. This is the piece that we played when we won Morristown on Stage this year. It is one of our favorite pieces, and we hope you enjoyed Toccata on King's West. We have one more piece. We have two more stories. And so I'm going to let them get their bells ready for this last piece and just say thank you so much for coming. Again, we wouldn't be going on tour without the support of our friends and our family and the congregation at the church. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so, so much. We're going to have our last two tour memories from Emma and Sammy.
My favorite tour memory was when I would bring my speaker into the van and we would just like play a bunch of different like random songs in the car and sing along to them. That's also part of the reason why when Henry talked about how we got lost in Maine, I had no idea because I was just singing the whole time.
My favorite memory from tour was last night. Me, Emma, and Sarah stayed in this really nice host home in Maine. and she showed us her lake house, and then she took us back to her like normal house, and it had an indoor pool, and it had a greenhouse outside, and we could see the Big Dipper up in the sky, and there was like a bunch of wildflowers and fireflies, and it was really beautiful.
Okay, so before we play this last song, Sarah and I want to give a really special thank you to Mrs. Baza, because this is our last tour with her. And we're really gonna miss her and everybody, but I don't know, we wouldn't be the ringers we are today if it weren't for her.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Sorry, I'm so very sensitive. So regarding Emma's memory, Steve actually drives the 15-passenger van. Amy and I are in the equipment van. So I really think that the kids singing at the top of their lungs are Steve's favorite memory too. Just a guess. And you know, my favorite part of tour is them. So this is why I kind of like to do a farewell concert at home, because I don't want to cry in front of strangers. First of all, Sarah and Trevor, I'm gonna miss you so much. They've been with me since I started, and I've been able to watch them grow all these years as musicians and as people, and they're wonderful people. And so just keep in touch and come back and see us and stuff, because I'm gonna miss you very much. And the rest of this choir, I get to spend a week with these kids, and they're fun, and they're smart, and they're interesting, and they're funny, and they're talented, and they're like everything you could want. They are just great kids. And we fight. Oh, don't you think we don't argue? Because we certainly do. Me and Joey were going at it a little bit at this trip, but that's okay, because we're a family. That's what we are. We're a family. And my life wouldn't be the same without them. And just thank you, parents, for sharing your kids with me. It's a great, great honor to be trusted with them, so thank you. Our last piece is the last piece that was not on our repertoire. It is another beast of a piece that they approached me about, even closer to tour than Passacalle. So, and at the end of the year, when we have rehearsals, we're not all there because people are graduating and people have end of the year parties. And so it is very rare at the end of the year for us to have 100% attendance at any rehearsal. So I would say that this last piece, we have rung as a full choir maybe 10 times now. Yeah, Steve's given me a 2 because he's heard it twice. We rang it maybe, actually that might not be wrong. Maybe it's less than 10 times, but they wanted to ring it. And the 4th of July is tomorrow, so it's highly appropriate. So please enjoy the Stars and Stripes Forever.